NewsNation's Joe Khalil live for us in Washington. Joe, the next few days are really busy on Capitol Hill. A series of briefings for the full House and the full Senate on what happened in Venezuela.
Yeah, and Elizabeth, as we were discussing yesterday, just after that briefing last night, what appears to be sort of ever-changing now are the reactions and both Republican and Democratic understanding about what comes next. The conversation about Venezuela also hand in hand with the conversation about Greenland, which moved forward today. There was new reporting that Secretary Rubio, inside of that briefing, effectively told lawmakers there that the goal was not actually to commit a real military invasion of Greenland, but rather to buy it, which in itself, I think, raises a whole lot of questions. But just shortly after that reporting came out, the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said, no, in fact, military invasion is still on the table, potentially, and that President Trump is taking nothing off the table. So just tonight, we asked one of the people inside of that briefing last night, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic House leader, whether he takes those words literally or whether he thinks that's more bluster in just a sort of way to position the U.S. for a negotiation sometime later with Greenland. And he told us no, he takes everything the president says literally. Take a listen here. A lot from the president today about Greenland, and they still want to keep a potential takeover on the table. What was your assessment of whether that was serious or whether that's sort of just bluster?
Everything the president says at this point we have to take seriously because he is uncommitted to the rule of law, uncommitted to the Constitution, and uncommitted to doing anything that actually makes life better for the American people. We are going to move aggressively and legislatively to make clear that no military aggression should be taken against Venezuela or any other country in the Western Hemisphere or throughout the world without explicit congressional approval.
So you take him literally and seriously on Greenland?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Elizabeth, for the most part, publicly, Republicans we've talked to today, they feel comfortable about the moves that the White House is making. They feel like there actually is a concerted and serious strategy about sort of dominating the Western Hemisphere that they are mostly comfortable with at this point. But Senator Mark Warner on the Democratic side feels a little differently. This is what he told us today when asked about what comes next and if there is an actual strategy that he can see from the administration.
I'm focusing on where we go from here and how do we make sure that our allies don't lose faith in us, because if we go from setting this precedent that we can go snatch people, and if the president keeps saying, well, maybe next is Greenland, will that destroy NATO? Remember, Greenland is part of Denmark. Yeah. Or if we're going to go into Colombia or Mexico, where the president says, those are both countries. We may not like the leadership, but they were elected by the people of those countries. Yeah. So I just wonder where this kind of this leads.
Now, Elizabeth, one thing that isn't really getting talked about as much as part of this conversation is China. Does China use the U.S.'s operation on Maduro as a sort of means to justify a potential invasion into Taiwan? Again, just on the outer banks of this conversation, we're hearing that a bit, but that may be something moving forward that we may hear more about, especially in the defense and intelligence space.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.